Ladies and gentlemen, it is time. After hundreds of hours of gameplay and 0 hours of social life, we are going to go over the weapon tier list for Space Marine 2. Yes, I have around 300 hours of gameplay, and if you're thinking, Pip, where's your family at? I don't know. I have no clue. I do not know what's happening beyond that door. Also, a huge shout out to every single one of you because we just hit 50,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is an amazing milestone. Thank you so much for all the love and support you guys have been showing. And also make sure to hop into those streams, both on YouTube and on Twitch. We have a super chill community and we always have a good time. So I would love to see every single one of you guys there. So let's talk about the tier list. The way this is going to work, guys, let's say 5 weapons end up on A tier. What's going to happen is some of them are going to end up on the higher A tier and some of them on the lower A tiers. Another thing I want you guys to keep in mind is that all of these have been tested on Ruthless difficulty. So that's what I'm taking into account here. The way we're going to approach this tier list is what are the best tools to make the Ruthless difficulty as comfortable and as easy as possible. I have a bunch of build videos tied to these weapons, and I will drop all of those build videos in the description. So make sure to check out those builds if you're interested. So the first weapon that we're going to take a look at is the last FUSIL. This is on the sniper class, and in my opinion, this is one of the most powerful weapons in the game. Now, what makes this weapon so good is the fact that it has very high single target damage, but at the same time, it can ad clear the smaller Tyranids very efficiently because it has piercing shots, right? So clearing ads is not a problem. Single target damage is very high. Doesn't matter if you're going against an elite, a boss, whatever it is, you are going to be melting them, especially if you do not enjoy going against the flying bosses, or the way we call it, the flying ball sacks. You're going to be having an easy day with this weapon. When you're using this weapon, you can also utilize a few perks where the ammo economy just is extremely good. If you're clearing hordes of enemies, you pretty much never run out of ammo on this one, and you can hip fire and use it like a shotgun. So it covers everything. The ammo economy can be very good, extremely high damage, great clear, very good also for contested health regen because of the piercing rounds. So you can't really go wrong with this weapon. We're going to drop it into big PP tier because honestly, it deserves it. Next weapon we're going to go over here is going to be what, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated weapons in the game, and that's the STALKER bolt rifle. Now, the reason I say underrated is because I don't think many people have actually really tried this weapon or put in the time to upgrade this weapon. You can find this weapon on the sniper, tactical, and overall, it's just such a good pick. Once you're fully upgraded, especially on the tactical, because it really ties well with that class, you're going to be taking out elites with just a few shots. It's very strong. The fire rate is perfect for this weapon. It feels like a heavy-hitting scout rifle from Destiny 2, and essentially that's what it is, especially on the tactical. But even without the scans, the weapon damage is good. You can take out elites from far away, which gives you the ability to stay in that safe range, and you can take care of the smaller ads easily as well, as long as you get used to the weapon. The ammo economy, if built correctly, is flawless. You will literally never run out of bullets, no matter if you use it on the sniper or on the tactical. So I do think as time will go by and more people use this weapon, they'll quickly find that this weapon is way better than people think it is. I made a build about this one a few days ago, and honestly, people have been loving it. Make sure to check out that build as well. There will be a Last FUSIL build in the description, and both of these builds are really nice. And I already see a few other content creators as well fully upgrading this weapon and loving it. So we're going to drop it into A tier. Remember, once again, this might move down on A tier or just stay up here as we go through the other weapons. Next on the list is the Bolt Carbine. You're going to have 2 versions of this weapon. One is going to be like an SMG, right? Like very high fire rate and lower damage, and then you can change it to a version where you have slower fire rate but higher damage. But the problem with this weapon is if you're using, the high fire rate, the damage is just not there. And especially if you use it on the sniper class, it just doesn't tie that well into the whole sniper thing. Sniper is all about those high damage shots, slower fire rate, something that breaks your invis and does massive damage. And it really doesn't tie with that, even if you go for the slower fire rate. On the same classes, you have the STALKER bolt rifle, and when it comes to the tactical, you have so many better options, as we're going to see here. There is almost no reason to ever use this gun. None. If you're trying to find a weapon that is slow fire rate and high damage, the STALKER bolt rifle is just much better, much consistent. Accuracy is great. You're not going to be missing your shots. It's a great choice if you're looking for that kind of weapon. And if you're looking for something close range, the damage is just not enough. So regardless of how you look at this weapon, in terms of reasoning on Ruthless difficulty, there's no reason to use this weapon. And that's something we're going to keep in mind here, okay? So I'm going to drop this into C tier. As we move some weapons around, I might drop it down to doo-doo tier. But right now, let's just keep it in C tier and let's keep moving. Next one is the Melta, the Melta rifle on the heavy class. This thing, guys, is a monster, okay? Like if you have upgraded this on the heavy class, you're like a juggernaut. You're moving forward, absolutely annihilating everything. There's just no reason to not like this weapon. If you like Meltas, this is it right here. Extremely strong. The stagger is insane. The damage is very high. The ad clear is perfect. Single target damage also if it's an elite or a boss. Right away, we're going to drop it into big PP tier. And the cool fact about the Melta is you don't even have to reload. Like you have one big magazine and you're just chunking everything down. So this is easily big PP tier. If you haven't tried it yet, make sure to do so. Like it feels incredible on the heavy class, right? Next one is the Bolt Sniper. The problem with this weapon is going to be that Last FUSIL exists. Therefore, there's just simply not many reasons to use this weapon as well. Now, do I think it's as bad as the Bolt Carbine? Actually, no, I do not. I'm going to drop this into B tier. Last FUSIL has more damage, better ad clear. It has piercing. You're getting your ammo back much easier with Last FUSIL. So overall, guys, if you're playing the sniper, Last FUSIL is just on a different level. Maybe they raise the damage in the future or lower the enemy HP pools, and then it's going to be more consistent. Maybe it gets to destroy enemies much easier. In that case, it could move up. But currently, with the Last FUSIL and even the Stalker bolt rifle, and the fact that the Stalker is also on the tactical and it's incredible on the tactical, we're just going to drop this in B tier for now. Okay, let's take a look at the Instigator. This one is on the Vanguard. It's like a 3-burst rifle. So like if you enjoyed pulse rifles in Destiny 2, you're going to like this weapon. It feels pretty good actually, and it does pack a punch. I don't think it's A tier, but I do think that with some setups, you can make this work. Is it horrible? No. Is it better than the Carbine and the Bolt Sniper? I do feel like it feels better overall. This is more of a personal thing that because I do like burst weapons. So I'm going to drop it into B tier. It does pack a punch though. Like once you fully upgraded, you'll see that it's not as bad as most people think it is. It's actually pretty cool to use as well, and it's unique because of the burst. So I had a good time using this. Next one on the list is the grenade launcher rifle. And guys, this is an obvious pick. This is going to go to big PP immediately. I'm going to be uploading a build for this very soon, but a friend of mine, Phase Shifter, has a phenomenal build for this weapon. I'm going to drop that link also in the description. Make sure to check it out. And even though this one did get a nerf, guys, this thing is a beast. And when I say nerf, it just comes down to the ammo economy. But don't get it twisted. This thing is still an animal. It destroys everything. The damage is high. And having the option of spamming the grenade launcher or having the normal rifle is always a cool thing. So the single target damage is there. You can definitely use the explosions. You're going to be melting bosses, elites, all that kind of stuff. You cannot go wrong with this weapon, especially the fact that it's on the tactical just makes it absolutely cracked. So this is a great pick. This is probably still, in my opinion, above even the Melta, even though I think that this is very strong. We're going to put it right here, maybe even above Last FUSIL, even though the ammo changes happened. But honestly, all of these three weapons, no matter how you put them, you could put this, you know what I mean? Like move it around. They're just phenomenal picks, no matter how you look at it. So you can't really go wrong with any of these weapons. So we're going to just keep it like this at the moment. Next on the list is the normal Melta. And this is also going to go to S tier. The overheal with the Meltas has been changed, but the ad clear, the stagger is still there. And as long as those things are still there, you can't go wrong with these weapons. The ease of use is also something we're going to take into account when we're talking about Meltas. Because let's say there's 4 elites in front of you. Well, guess what? As long as you're just hitting all of them, they're all getting staggered, they're all getting damaged, and they're all getting annihilated at the same time. So you can't really go wrong with it. So this weapon is still a beast. The only way I can see that the Meltas drop in tier list is probably if they either take away stagger or like substantially lower it. Because that stagger is what makes this gun incredible. Like you're going through Ruthless difficulty, and it's like you're not playing Ruthless at all. Dude, when you're using these Meltas, sometimes you're like falling asleep because it's so easy. Next one is the Heavy Plasma Incinerator. Now, guys, this one got a buff with the latest patch. The AoE radius, just everything about it right now is perfect. You can literally take one shot and stun a group of elites. It is a monster currently. It takes time to get used to. Obviously, it's a different kind of weapon compared to the Meltas, right? It's not as easy to use. You got to time your shots. You got to sometimes wait for the elites to move around so you don't just waste your shots, but it is a monster. And with the changes, it also does really well with the horde clears as well. Obviously, if you fully charge the shot and take a shot at swarms, you'll see a bunch of them just disappear. But even if you spam the normal shots at the moment, it gets the job done really easily when it comes to clearing. So we're going to drop this into big PP tier as well. If you haven't yet, make sure to try it. I also made a full build after the update about this weapon. I'm going to add that in the description as well. Just watch the video and take a look at the crazy stuff this weapon can do. It's also one of those weapons that is right now underrated in a way because the Meltas exist. And the Meltas are very good, don't get me wrong. But personally, for me, I even prefer the plasma rifle right now with the buff. It feels very, very nice. Auto bolt rifle is going to go to C tier. I'm not going to waste a lot of your time here. This is a weapon that you can find on the tactical. Same goes for the heavy bolt rifle, honestly. And the thing is, right, on the tactical, you have so many phenomenal choices. There's literally no reason for you to use these, right? All you got to do is just look at the normal bolt rifle, and it's going to be 10 times better than these weapons. And you can have it in normal bolt rifle mode or the grenade launcher mode. So it offers you both play styles, but at the same time, does those things so much better. And you got to take into account the fact that when you're playing on Ruthless, you just need the best tools available to make the runs more comfortable, easier, and so on. And do these weapons really offer anything better than the tools above them? Not really, they don't. So we're gonna keep them at C tier. Make sure to let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comment section below, by the way. Now let's talk about the Plasma Incinerator. We're gonna drop this into high A tier. I just think that overall, the Heavy Plasma Incinerator does feel better. It really does. And with the latest buff, it is better, in my opinion, than the Plasma Incinerator. So that's why we're going to kind of make a distinction there, and we're going to drop it in high A tier. I still think it's very good. It can be extremely fun to play. Next on the list, the Oculus Bolt Rifle. Once again, one of those weapons that you're not going to be touching a lot. We're going to drop this into C tier. I do think that the Instigator just overall feels better. It has higher damage. It has better fire rate. We're going to move this over here all the way bottom C tier, just like this. I think this is better here. But yeah, that's going to be it for the Oculus. Once again, not something that you're going to be waking up in the morning and be like, oh my God, I can't wait to slap on the Oculus and destroy Ruthless. The Heavy Bolter. Okay, this is a very interesting weapon. The damage goes all the way up to 10. Does it feel like a big PP weapon? Can it compete with any of these? No, I don't think it can. Like if you're playing the heavy class, there's almost, unless you like the bolt rifles, there's no reason to run it over the Multi-Melta or the current Heavy Plasma Incinerator. That said though, if you enjoy it, it is a good gun. It definitely provides more value on the heavy class than, for example, these weapons do on their classes. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop it in lower A tier. I do think that the Stalker bolt rifle, for example, if you're playing the tactical, is incredible, and just overall for team play provides more value. So for example, if you're playing this build, even on the sniper or tactical, the fact that from far, far away, you can easily stagger elites is very nice. But guys, if you haven't, make sure to try this weapon out. It's a great weapon. It's super fun. It's just the problem that the Multi-Melta and the Plasma are better. So we're going to drop it into A tier. And now let's move on to the melee weapons. Okay, now this is going to be interesting. I would love to hear your thoughts on the melee weapons here. The Thunder Hammer, even though this is one of my favorite weapons in the game, that doesn't mean that I'm going to rate it higher than it deserves. When it comes to melee weapons, guys, I don't think any of the melee weapons are big PP. I really don't. I think that overall they do lack damage. That said, Thunder Hammer is something that I really enjoy currently, but I'm still gonna drop it in B tier. Now remember, this has nothing to do with the weapons. Just imagine that we're doing a separate, pretty much, tier list when it comes to melee weapons, okay? So we are going to drop this into B tier. There's a few reasons for that, because I think that the damage is lacking. The combat is fine once you understand the animation canceling. By the way, I have a full video on that as well. I'll drop it in the description. And I explained in that video how you can animation cancel your heavy hits and tie together really cool combos. But the problem still ends up being that it's a Thunder Hammer. It should be doing way more damage. And I don't think that without that damage, it's okay to put this into A tier or big PP tier. So we're going to drop it into B tier currently. The Power Fist, something that I was very excited about. I fully leveled it. I've been using it on the Bulwark. I've been using it on the Assault. I'm going to drop this into B tier as well. They buffed this weapon's fully charged attacks, which is a cool addition. But the thing is, you can't really utilize them almost at all. Like when it comes to the hammer, you can make it work once you understand the animation canceling. But when it comes to the Power Fist, you can't even utilize that technique. And while you're fully charging both of these weapons, by the way, there's no invulnerability window. You don't take less damage while you're charging. None of that. You're just getting destroyed, and the charge ups are just too long. And that's a problem. So we're going to drop this into B tier as well. The Chainsword is above these weapons. It does feel better. It does feel more consistent. The damage is nice. And they did fix the relic version as well, so you can easily use the high damage version of the weapon, and it's going to feel good. It's definitely one of the better melee weapons in the game, so we're going to drop it into A tier. The Power Sword, my personal favorite melee weapon on the Bulwark. You guys know I love the Bulwark class. The combos feel so good. The single target damage is also pretty decent once you fully understand the combos. Like, for example, 3 light attacks or 4 light attacks into 2 heavy attacks. It feels good. Now, this one we could put below the Chainsword or above the Chainsword. That's gonna be pretty much up to you. I do feel like both of them are better than the ones that we put in B tier, which is gonna be the Thunder Hammer and the Power Fist. And also, like, the Bulwark overall just plays really well with the Power Sword. Like, it feels like the class was created for the Power Sword because of the animations and everything. It's just perfect, right? Combat Knife is a weird one, right? What I like about it is the speed, the animations. Also, the single target damage of this weapon is very nice. And remember, it synergizes really well with the perks on the sniper class itself. And on top of that, it has some perks on its own perk tree, which changes the skills and makes it higher damage. And all of these things combined does make this weapon one of the best single target melee weapons in the game. And you can 100% make this work. So we're going to drop this into lower A tier as well. When it comes to the secondaries, I'm just going to do it separately here so people don't get confused while looking at the tier list. I think that all of them are very viable. I do think that the plasma pistol is the best one out of these. The single target damage is great. If you build them correctly, especially the charge time is great, and you can clear quite a few enemies with a single shot. So I do feel like it's the best of the secondary weapons, and it just feels really good as well. The bolt rifle will also go to A tier. I feel like it gets the job done very well when it comes to clearing. And the heavy bolt rifle as well. For the assault class, for example, it feels really good because it has perks that increase your damage once you're close range. I still feel like, for me personally, the normal bolt pistol feels better, but I find myself using the heavy bolt pistol a lot when I'm playing the assault. So I think these two are very similar. I'm gonna drop the normal bolt pistol above it here. And that said, I do think plasma pistol is better than both. And yeah, that's gonna be it for the tier list. Make sure to let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. I try to answer as many comments as possible. As always, stay positive, stay disciplined, and I'll see you all on the next one.
Let's go! Let's go, baby! Let's go!
I mean, we literally have the best community of all time.